Buongiorno and welcome to my Way of Thinking podcast, or my What for Short, hosted by me, Lee Greeno, here live from the Man Cave every week. Hope you're doing well. Now today I'm speaking to the brilliant Stuart Newman. Now what happens, sometimes I do get scripts sent through, not that I'm a professional or anything like that, but I've been writing for a few years and people ask me just to comment on them because I just like reading, a bit strange like that. And Stuart sent me his one in called Punk's Not Dead, and it was a really interesting story. I was fascinated with it. And I said to him, well, come on, talk about it. Talk about your story and where it's come from. And it'll give you a bit of exposure, I suppose, and just let people know where you're coming from with your script, because he's trying to get it off the ground, trying to find people that want to be producers, or find people that want to put finance or investment into it. And I know how difficult that can be, so I said straight away, come on, if I can, any way I can help. So it's a fascinating chat about how he used to be in a band himself, and how this story came about, because it is a true story, and how he goes through the process of writing and what he's trying to do with it. So I hope you enjoy it. Now, My Way of Thinking is all about us amazing human beings that all have a story, and those stories can vary massively, but with the guests I'll be interviewing, you'll always be able to take a little bit of advice or insight into how extraordinary we can all be. Remember, there's only 4 rules on the show: 1, no bullshitting; 2, no judging; 3, no negativity; and 4, have fun. Plenty of previous episodes, some really interesting ones, so look back on those. And also remember, the podcast streamed on all the usual platforms, so Spotify, iTunes, but also on YouTube if you want to see this beautiful face. I always say that. Just put My Way of Thinking podcast and we pop up everywhere. And if you do want to get in touch or ask a question, then email me morepodcast@aol.com. Okay, let's get on to it. Let's go. It's the sun. Sunstroke. Okay, let's get to it. Here's my interview with the brilliant Stuart. Okay, so this is My Way of Thinking podcast, and today we have a very special guest. It is the one and only Stuart Newman. Stuart, welcome. Woo! Now, Stuart here is a podcast virgin, first one of many. You'll get used to this, mate. You'll get used to having to promote if you do well with your film and things. And it is a bit. Yes. It is a bit. I don't know, when you first start doing it, you're always trying to think ahead and you worry and you think, what am I going to say? But the reality is, the more you do it, the more it's just a natural thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's never easy, but anyway, so thanks so much for coming on today. We're going to talk about you, what you've been up to, and how we connected, which is really interesting. But first of all, what I like to do is, with any of my guests, I always like to talk about a couple of funny or feel-good stories, because at the minute we know it's all doom and gloom, and I'm a pain in the arse for reading the news. I wish I didn't, but I always like to keep on top of it. And obviously, over the last year or so, it's just been pretty horrendous, to be fair.
Yes.
But there's a couple of stories. One's really poignant. One's quite funny. We'll go for the poignant one first. So, talking about lockdown, everything seems to cover lockdown. According to the website builder GoDaddy, nearly 1 in 10 young adults have launched their own enterprise since February 2020, choosing to become their own bosses rather than fight it out in the jobs market. And this young man, Omar Miho, 24, is one of these people. Prior to the pandemic, he used to tour the world as a DJ, having lots of fun, working unsustainable hours. When the pandemic hit, he found himself out of work. And he loved his music, but he didn't know what he was going to do. He was just about to get a work in Dubai or some big contract. He'd studied a business degree, and he'd started doing his own, teaching himself to DJ. So he did it all by himself off his own back. Good young lad, hardworking. And then he got a residency in Dubai. But the pandemic hit, and like a lot of us, I think everybody, regardless where we were, it hit us in one way or another.
Yeah, sure.
And with clubs around the world shut down, everyone continued from their homes. Omar couldn't DJ anymore. So although he was out of pocket, it wasn't all bad, because the night shifts that come with DJ lifestyle was starting to have a negative effect on his health. So basically, it never really occurred to me, he says, it never really occurred to me to make a business out of teaching DJing, to be honest, but I never thought I had the confidence, but I gave it a shot and officially launched his business in February because of the pandemic. And now it's gained over 1,000 students based all over the world. He said, I was really nervous about teaching, but his confidence grew. And now his business is booming. He's his own boss. He's been in the space for 12 months now, created a career out of it. And it beats filling out countless job applications. And plus it offers him a global platform as well. This is the thing. Same with Zoom right now. I can speak to anyone around the world. He can teach people around the world as well. And I just thought, it was a great, he's doing really well. He's sticking at it and he's giving out good advice. But I just thought it was a great story to give people, and especially young people as well, because I think this pandemic has been an opportunity for a lot of people. But when you're young, like my son, he's still at home, as annoying as that is. And I'll say to him, if you want to do something, you go for it. I wouldn't stand in his way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And how do you go on? In
a way, that's the beauty of it. The tools the youngsters have got now, we could only dream about when we was young. It was, you can, with your camera and your laptop, and that's it. You're an editor. You can create pretty much anything. You can record an album in your bedroom. It's perfect opportunity for some. Typical.
Is there a dog attacking your leg? What sort of dog? Oh, bless. Oh. What sort of dog you got? What sort of dog you got, Stuart?
Delivery. It's for the wife.
Oh, what sort of dog have you got?
Oh, what sort of dog? Sorry. Toy terrier, Russian toy terriers.
Oh, have you?
Little tiny things.
Oh, look! I'll tell you what. I bet if they met my boxer dog, they would kill it.
They're little dog syndrome. Lovely with people. But,
my boxer dogs, they might look mean, but they are as soft as shit. But what you were saying is right, because we've got the technology now. I remember we're going to talk about writing later. When I first started writing, I had, pen and paper, that was it. And I remember looking at my first second-hand laptop and thinking, if I could get hold of that. But now, who hasn't got a phone? Most kids have got a phone. So it is a great opportunity. So I thought that was a great story, bless him. Fair play to him. Now, the second story, this is more of a funny one. A British pet parrot named Nigel has been reunited with its owner after disappearing 4 years ago. Nigel, an African grey, flew away from his own in California in 2010, but returned to his British owner. Okay, we hear that. Birds are pretty clever. They can do that. They fly all over the world, which is pretty amazing. This one, though, came back speaking Spanish. How does that work out? So his happy owner said, Mr. Chick says his British accent is gone and now it's replaced by fluent Spanish and someone called Larry. I don't know what that was about. So the bird's saying Larry and then talking in Spanish. Even though he has no idea where the bird has been for the last 4 years, he says it's really weird. I knew it was him from the minute I saw him. Nigel was discovered by a dog groomer. He was singing and talking without control. Miss Miko tracked Mr. Chick by sifting through old sales records of Nigel's microchip. Oh, so they have microchips in birds. Don't know how that happened. And she introduced myself, said, have you lost his bird? And he said, yes. He realised it was their bird, but it speaks Spanish now. What do you think of that?
Amazing. Strangely enough, I've got an African grey as well.
Have you?
Last year, escaped.
Yeah.
Was away for 3 nights. Was no.
Yeah.
Got it back.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I bet you panicked, didn't you?
Was worried sick. Yeah, but it was
clever, aren't they? Beautiful, beautiful birds, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it hard work looking after him?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look after themselves.
Yeah.
Are they as intelligent as people say?
Yes. Yeah, they're really quite crafty at times.
What sort of thing? Tell us.
I don't know. The wife wanted it, I was like, no more animals, no more animals, please.
Yeah.
Once we got it, it's completely changed my perception of birds and other animals, because I didn't think a bird could show emotion, especially when you first see it. It's got cold, almost dinosaur-like eyes, and it's it's actually, it comes over and it's affectionate to you, and it's just really completely changed my opinion on birds now.
Wow. I remember, well, two things happened to me. I went somewhere to a bird show and I thought, wow, they had a crow on delivering letters and moving numbers around and adding up things. And I thought, wow. And then I went to a pub once. This was in Blackpool many, many years ago. And there was a guy in there, and he had a macaw on his shoulder, a macaw, stunning. And he let me hold it for a while. And he was talking to me, and it was looking at me, and you thought, wow. If I had the space, I would get one. They are great pets. Unfortunately, I've got chickens. They're not as intelligent, trust me. But they're funny. They are funny. Anyway, right. So let's talk about you, Stuart. So we connected because you've written a new screenplay, and you want to talk about that, and you're interested in trying to get it to move forward, which I totally understand because I've been there numerous times and it's painful. So and it is an interesting project, which we're going to talk about. But first of all, obviously you've told me you dub it, and you've been in the sound mixing game for a while. So tell us a bit about that. How did you get into that? Was it something you went uni for? What happened?
I went back into education mid-20s, and it's quite hard track into it. Ended up, luckily enough, getting a job onto ITV Digital, which is Freeview now, DTT. Which went bust. And it's one of those coincidences in life where, when the auction for that was, someone came along to buy the kit and said, "What's happened to your staff? Is there any staff who are still looking for work?" So a friend put me forward for a job it was trainee Pro Tools operator, which was kind of what I'd always wanted to do.
All right.
Came out of the blue. So I had to sort of jump down a step or two, but that was nearly 20 years ago now. So really random opportunity, which I grabbed and moved forward. So.
What was it about the sound industry or being involved in that? Is that something you've always loved? You always loved music? You always been interested?
I was a bit of a lost teenager, and music was the only thing that made sense. It was the only thing that ever made sense. I can't put it into words why now, even. And I always kind of moved that way. My internal radar was right. You got to get there. I don't know. It took a long time. I was sort of early 30s by the time I started that, but it was.
And what's
the goal achieved?
So, did you go to university or college or anything, or was it more of a hands-on apprenticeship?
I've been to college. Learned most of my skills were spent sort of working in edit suites midnight. And there's no one there, so you're crawling under the desk, pulling cables out and reseating stuff.
Yeah.
When I went to ITV, they stuck me on some very intensive training, which sort of had my brains bubbling out of my ear holes, and that was up to sort of degree level in broadcast engineering, which covered most of the audio stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And then it was just hands-on once.
And was it TV that you always, or is it just that you fell into TV? Because obviously you're talking about music. I would think there's so many, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I would think in sound there's so many different departments: music, TV, film, radio. What led you to TV? Was it just you sort of fell into it?
Yeah, it was just I was making a music documentary. It was quite a niche music documentary with a lot of punk bands in the mid-90s, and it wasn't really a living to be made from it, so I had to get a job, so to speak. TV was much easier to get a foot in the door.
And what
with the little experience that I had.
I'll tell you the thing that I appreciate the most, being a filmmaker and done plenty of shorts and that, but when I recently did my feature, which was some of the sound on that, we had a few problems with the sound guy at the end of the day. It was a low budget film. So I've been editing that and learning. And it's just a minefield. It's such a skill, isn't it? I don't think people realise what a skill it is.
It can be. It's only, what you put in, you get out, really. So I think with a lot of people, they'll take the attitude, I'll fix it in the mix, or do it in post or whatever. And you can only polish the turd so much, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
If it's bad quality audio, it's bad quality audio. There's certain things you can do. You can do a lot more now than what you could do years ago, but it's still. You've got to really try and capture the best quality audio
on
you can.
The day. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went to a course down in London once, I remember the filmmaking thing, and they were saying, look, you can have a film that looks a little bit ropey. It might be grainy, but it's the sound. You've got to have the sound. People will notice the sound. And since I've been doing shorts and features, things like that, that's the one thing. I'll watch a film and I appreciate what film. I watched a film recently and the sound design was amazing. And I thought, wow. And you appreciate that more. I suppose other people wouldn't, when you're in the business like you spot it straight away.
It's ultimately, it's 50% of what it's 50% of the movie. It's sound. It's and doesn't always it can often be an afterthought.
Yeah. And what's it like now with the industry? Because I would guess the mics, everything is high end. So as a dubber, because you do dubbing, I suppose, is it a lot easier now, or is it just a totally different way of working?
Well, I'm mixing commercials, so most of the stuff's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
We record voiceovers, but obviously this last year, everything's gone on its head and everyone's working remotely. So it was always, no, you can't work from home unless you can't do audio post from home. And now everybody's working from home. It's just...
Yeah. Have you got the kit at home then? I noticed you've got a desk there.
Yeah. Set up to mix. I've kind of shied away from it from the best part of, after 18 years of voicing and voiceover suites, I kind of thought, well, I'm quite happy being sent VO files to.
Yeah.
I've now got to look at doing some remote voicing with the voiceovers in home studios.
Yeah. So do you think when things go back to normal, it'll be sort of half your time at home, half your time in studios, or do you think
probably more than half the time at home?
Yeah. Because the money they're saving, isn't it? These studios, running them is crazy amounts of money.
Especially in central London, the rent is astronomical. So I think there's a lot of change going on at the moment.
Oh God, yeah, it's crap. Yeah, I was seeing somewhere a lot more people are moving into the country now just because they know they can work from home now. So why be stuck in the middle of London where it's expensive?
You get a whole virtual post kit now, so you can go away, you can do all your offline edits, everything, wherever you are. And really need to go into town once it's for final sign-offs.
I remember when the pandemic hit, I was fortunate enough to get a composer for my film and a music publisher, and they were doing the mix, and it was all in Italy, and I had the plane booked. I was going to go to the studio, everything. The pandemic hit, and it was in the middle of Italy, and I was like, oh my God. And at the last minute, I didn't go. And I think the next day they closed the airport. So it was like, oh my God, I was gutted. But we did the mix. So they said, look, okay, we'll do the mix remotely, just like we are now, where I could see in the studio, we could play, and they'd say, you're happy with this? So yeah, it wasn't the same, but realistically, we still got the job done. But I was gutted.
Yeah, I think it takes away the jolly element, doesn't it? For a lot of people, they go away for the weekend and roll it all in. Now you suddenly, I can do that from home.
Yeah, but when you've been doing it as long as you have, I suppose you thought, oh no, actually, I'd rather sit here, have a cup of tea, make sure the dogs don't rip everything up.
It's quite life-changing, really, getting 2 hours plus a day extra.
Yeah.
Not commuting is a life-changing.
Yeah. Did you have to commute into London, Stuart?
Yeah, well, I'm in Essex, edge of Essex, so I mean it'd be at least an hour each way. I rode in motorbike. It was fine during the summer, but it's a little bit cold during the winter. And
yeah, good old.
I kind of miss the riding, but I don't miss the commuting. It's just that 2 hours a day is actually where I found the time to write the Punk's Not Dead movie, because it was from that I was getting up early, and so it became really proactive. I think a lot of people have spent that time wisely and just really pushed their projects forward.
Yeah, I have. When my wife hasn't given me a list of jobs first, I'll get up in the morning, right, I've got this plan. Yeah, I've got this plan. Do a bit of podcasting, bit of editing, bit of script writing. Hold on. This needs painting on. And also a motorbiker. I've got back into biking last year. And it's not. I'm fortunate that I don't need to commute. I can have it as sort of a toy in the summer. And I suppose for you appreciate it a lot more then when you get a nice day. Oh, go for a nice ride. But when you're commuting all the time, I suppose it takes the joy out of it, doesn't it?
Oh, I'd always rather ride than get on the train. That was even pre-pandemic. It was. I mean, it was literally, that was why I started riding in the first place. You get on the train in the morning, there's people that.
Oh, yeah. What about in the winter, though?
It was, most of the time's fine. There's probably a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, where it's icy and possibly snow, where I'll jump on the train then.
Yeah.
It's
but it's like you say, when the times that I've nipped down London, I'm in the Midlands, so now and again I'll nip down to London if it's to do with film or anything like that. And I do like it. You get a good buzz and a good energy, but I always say it's nice to come home. I couldn't live down there. It's full on, isn't it?
I kind of it's been really nice because I moved 6 months before the pandemic kicked in. We're a little bit further out, and there's fields and farms.
Nice.
That was perfect. Once it was, when you couldn't go out anywhere, or you could only go out for a walk, so it was suddenly. I found all this local beauty in the area, which I didn't actually know was there.
Oh, nice. Okay, now, so moving forward then, we're here to talk about Punk's Not Dead, but did you wrote anything before that?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the first thing you wrote and what led you to do that.
Well, it came from a dry spell I was playing in a band for the previous 10 years. And we'd done, four studio albums, and I got to a point where I'd said everything I wanted to say lyrically. And I was like, dried up. And
did you used to write those lyrics then, Stuart? The band's lyrics?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it came from that. So you've always enjoyed writing then?
I've never really written creatively. I've done a bit of journalistic stuff throughout the years. I wrote fanzines, wrote for other fanzines, websites, but I'd never really written creatively. So once I kind of dried up and thought, well, hang on, there must be other ways of saying what I wanted to say. And it was just literally a quiet moment from work. I saw a screenwriting course on similar to what you were talking about earlier, where someone set one up, watched that, and went, amazing. It really inspired me to come up with an idea. It was so I wrote it was horror. The first one was a horror film, not particularly great. It was a bit of it used to be a learning curve. You first.
Was it a short or was it a feature?
No, it's feature length.
Oh right, good.
And also, I think I remember standing in a rehearsal room at one point, and the band were all in various stages of recovery, and one who was lying about his usage whatsoever. And I thought the dynamics in the room were amazing. It was all like 40-year-old blokes. It was all, I went, there's got to be a TV series in this. Just
the stories,
and it was, and that was really what inspired me to write as well. I wanted to do so. I mean, I've done the pilot and the pitch Bible for that's a series called Chaos, which it still needs a little bit more work on the characters, but the story's there now. And
so, tell us a little bit about the band then. What obviously what were you the singer? Did you play an instrument?
Yeah, I play singer and guitar. It started in idea back in the 80s. We never really got past rehearsal rooms then, and all sort of went our separate ways into. Once I began working in sound, I was like, well, I might as well use these lunchtimes a little bit creatively, and I sort of went back and recorded the first album. And then mysteriously, another coincidence, the guitarist turned up again after 20 odd years or whatever. It was just like, okay. So we went out, we've done every toilet and dustbin in the UK, and sort of Tuesday nights to Three Blokes and a Dog and whatever, and done various self-produced albums. And
what was the name of the band?
Underclass UK. Quite noisy punk stuff, but it's really it's very great outlet. Really great outlet to get into a room and get rid of all the stress. What happened with that? Do you still do it, or do you miss it, or is it? Well, it's on a hiatus at the moment. The guitarist's got problems with tinnitus, where he's in a lot of pain, and we don't. As I said, I hit that point where it dried up, and I didn't really want to go through bringing someone else in and changing the dynamics of the band. So we've left it for now. Maybe another album in it at some point. But.
So you've heard a lot. So your experiences then, and what you're writing about is basically when you toured around the UK.
The TV series, there's a lot of autobiographical stuff in there, framed around other people, so it's kind of
but you can't use any names.
No, of course, your secret's safe from me. What was it?
So now that interests me. You did TV. I wrote shorts and made short films, and then the first thing I wrote before I wrote a feature was a pilot episode. I just had this idea, and I thought it's an hour before I throw myself into an hour and a half, and it's a good way to get it out there and get feedback. Tell us a little bit about what your idea was with that.
How I came into writing the series, or what the series is about?
Why you thought, right, I'm going to write a TV series and not a feature at first? Was it because you thought, I can't fit all that into?
I think it would be, there would be there was too much for 90 minutes, and as a first, I thought I might find it easier to find people to work with on a TV series. There was a lot more openness and looking for it, rather than a film which would be 2 hours plus or whatever, with a lot of extras in there. So the idea lends itself to a series rather than a film, because there's ongoing parts to it as well for series 2 or 3 or whatever. The ideas are all there and formulated.
I know exactly what you mean, because your pilot is almost just the intro, isn't it? Then you flesh out the characters. And it gives me an appreciation. I read quite a lot of scripts, and I read quite a lot of the Breaking Bad episodes, and it gives you appreciation of the skill of keeping it fresh episode after episode, doesn't it? It's so different. I mean, you'll watch TV series now. There's always one episode but when you watch something classic like Breaking Bad or Sopranos or one of the old, absolute classics, you think how the writers did that episode for so many. It's pretty special talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then, and also talking about your friend's guitar tinnitus, there's a new film out. It was raved about for the Oscars. I don't know if you've heard of it. Sound of Metal.
Yes, saw that last week. Fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Amazing sound design as well.
Design, yes.
Yeah.
What a film, and what a performance by Riz Ahmed. But the sound is on, for people that don't know, the sound is on, and that he's actually suffering and losing his hearing. So it actually puts you in his space, and you can hear what he's hearing sometimes. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
The subtitles are on from the beginning. I actually thought someone had been in and switched the subtitles. I'm trying to turn it off. It's only like 5 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
Part of the film.
Yeah, great film. Anyway, so you've done your TV series. Then did that lead you then to Punk's Not Dead, or did you do a feature before that?
I went on a course with London Screenwriters Festival.
Oh yeah, love London Screenwriters.
On campus, it was like a 7-day self-immersive thing, which I thought was all about writing, but it was more about self-progression, really. And it was we ended up there. It was pitching ideas with tarantulas in your hand and walking on fire.
Yeah,
and all kinds of
with Chris. Yeah.
So, and it was within that the elements which was around writing. You come up with a film idea, a TV series idea, and a passion project. So I'd done those 3 things, and then was sitting there over the Christmas of 2019. I had a little bit of time off, and I was just, well, you know what, I'm just going to read something or watch something. And in my Facebook feed came a book, Punk's Not Dead, by a writer called Mo Rat, who had worked for Kerrang and Metal Hammer, all the bigger metal music magazines, going way back to the 90s. It's like, okay, let's have a read of this. It's one of those books which you couldn't put down. I couldn't put, I read it all in a day and a half or something, and it was like, wow, that would make an amazing film. It was partially because it was a scene which I recognised. I recognised a couple of the characters in the book. I've been to most of the venues. I'd kind of lived a similar.
Wow.
I sort of went through a similar life change about 2 or 3 years behind what was there. So this would make an amazing film. I just dropped him a line on social media and said, look, I'm a new screenwriter. I really like the idea of this. And we began talking. He said no one had picked the book up yet. So we organised an option on that and sorted the paperwork out. And literally I began writing it as the pandemic kicked in. Up at 5 a.m. every day, sort of do 4 hours writing before starting my day job. And within a month we had first draft there.
Wow. What a story. So just to give people a bit of an idea, so you read a book. How did you go about getting an option, Stuart?
I just contacted the author via social media. I mean, I suppose it depends on what the book is, the fame level of the author, whether they're contactable or whether they've got agents. Or I contacted direct. Said that I was interested in writing a screenplay, and we took it from there. We had a mutual friend who dealt with the paperwork, so we didn't have to spend silly amounts on lawyers. And because we're both in the same area, there's an element of trust there. Which it could be naive in some cases, but it's No, that's a great story, because people do ask about optioning books, and there's some people say people who struggle for ideas look for books. There's millions and millions of books out there. It's no good going for Harry Potter, like you say, but there's some cracking little ones that if you pick up and read, they're amazing. And getting options is easier than people think. I think sometimes people think, oh, you're never going to get an option. Well, what you used to have to do is contact the publisher and then through an agent and blah, blah, blah. Now with the beauty of social media, like you say, and the fact that you had some kind of connection, is a great little But
story.
It depends on the pub. If it's self-published as well, that's another thing in your favour. So there's no publishers to deal with. It's
no publishers, no agents.
Perfect world.
Don't get me ranting about agents. But anyway, so that's a great story in itself, and you've got that connection there. And when people say about stories as well, whether it's screenplays or a true life account from a book, you've got that connection straight away, which I think is important. People always say, well, what should you write? You should write something and you've got some kind of connection or some kind of passion. So I think that's brilliant. And the other thing I picked up on is obviously London Screenwriters Festival. I haven't been for a few years now, but I used to go for the weekend, and it's such a wealth. Obviously, they haven't been able to do it because of the pandemic. But if you ever get a chance, have you ever been to the weekends that they have there?
With the actual festival?
Yeah.
No, so it was. I was planning to go on.
Yeah.
Was it April last year when it was that was scheduled
yeah.
in?
If you get chance, it is. So, I learnt so much. I think I went 3 or 4 times, but
I still got the ticket. It's due for September now.
But the knowledge you can pick up there, you can walk it. You know, you'll have the talkers. We had people like Carl Gottlieb who wrote Jaws. You'll have people like that there. And then when the day's finished, he'll be having a drink at the bar. You can just walk over to him and ask him questions and pull knowledge from Oscar winners. It is phenomenal, and I can't rate it high enough. Chris Jones does a brilliant job with it.
There was the whole pitching thing as well. I mean, that was what I was looking.
I did. I did that. The 5-minute pitch. Oh my God. Yeah, I've done that. But it is a great experience, and you will not get an experience like it over 3 days that just will help you. So anyway, so you've optioned it, so now you've got to write it. Now, this is your first feature, and you're writing a true life account from a book. So tell me the process of that. Did you look into it and try and self-teach yourself, or did you just think, sod it, I'm going to start reading the book and make notes that way?
The way the book was written, I thought it deserved a true adaptation. So rather than pulling bits out, twisting it inside out, or at least if we can adapt this the way it is and tell this the way it is, I think that's the best way to approach it. Obviously, the problem with that is there's some large scenes, but you're going to have budgetary confinement somewhere along the line. But we didn't have a budget in the beginning. So rather than saying, let's keep it as small as possible, it's just, we haven't got a budget, so we'll keep it there. We can cut what's needed. So for the first drafts, it's a true adaptation as we can.
Did you do a treatment, or did you just get straight into it, into the screen?
Used the beat board rather than took the major scenes from the book, worked out the order. We had to slightly change the order of a few things to make it flow more, keep just so the sort of character artwork slightly better.
That's interesting, because a lot of people will say, everybody's different. Some people say they write a 20-page treatment. I can't do that because I feel like I'm wasting my time writing a treatment when I could be doing the screenplay. I like your option, which is a beat board where you put in notes of a scene or a character and just splatting your ideas around, where it's whatever works right for you, isn't it, really?
I think from the adaptation, I think the book was more like the treatment itself. You can revert to that and take what you needed. So it was, just worked out the major beats of the film, pulled that down, worked out the scenes, and went from there.
And like you say, because you've got freedom, it's not like you've got an executive saying we've got to hit this budget. You know, you haven't got to cut characters, you haven't got to cut scenes yet. So I suppose that was. I mean,
but the first draft had a ridiculous amount of talking characters. So it was, straight back in. Right, okay, that's gone. But the very first draft, of course, it was as true to the book as we could get.
And how many revisions you done so far?
Some 3.3. I think I'm on at the moment, and it's quite. I'm just working with someone now who another musician knows the world well, and going to try and he's a lot more experienced, so he's given me a few more ideas to think about from a sort of themic perspective.
Okay,
so we'll be trying to implement.
I mean, I don't even know if you named the book. What was the name of the book, and who was it by?
The book is Punk, SNOT, Dead. Obviously,
so it's exactly the same as it's like, because sometimes they change it.
And it's by a writer called Morat.
So he actually wrote the book.
He wrote the book, which is based on his life story.
This is Cameron Watt, isn't it? What?
Yes,
Yeah, cool. And what I like, one of the things that caught my eye, which is great on your pitch, is well, first of all, England 1981, big up 81. You know, I think the music in the 80s was brilliant. And I like the way it says, "Think this is England meets the football factory via quadrophenia." Tell us a little bit.
Try not to be too pretentious on it, but that's the nearest.
That's important. What you put
of what it's actually about.
And why is that important for pitching? Why is that important for pitching, Stuart?
To try and let a producer know what genre you're working in, for starters. If it's a romantic comedy, you don't want to be pitching to producers who work on gangster films or whatever.
Yeah.
Try and target where you need to be placed realistically in the market. I mean, obviously there's always wild cards who might go, yeah, I'd love to get involved in that, but you need to target.
Yeah. And have you pitched anyone yet?
Well, we had a verbal offer from a small indie of a 2-year option and to develop it in October. It never made it to the paperwork, and then when the second lockdown kicked in, it all fell apart.
Nightmare.
Almost got it across the line and then collapsed again. That's where I went round the second round of contacts, and that's where we came back in touch again. I was just following up people who had taken the script the first time. And
so tell us a little. Go on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interest. I think the main thing, which is no surprise, is the general consensus is it's going to be tough work finding investors who want to invest in punk. But the timing at the moment is superb because you've got Danny Boyle's Pistol series, which is over halfway through shooting, I believe, and also there's a serializations of the Ramones.
Yeah.
In production as well. So time-wise, it's a good fit for anyone.
That's it. When you pitch things, sometimes it's just the right time at the right place. It's nothing to do with what the pitch is or what the work is. And like you say, there's some projects which are coming through, and so that's definitely going to help you now. As far as you, so tell us a little bit about. So you've got this screenplay. And you've got what you're trying to do is basically you want to get it made, and to get it made, we have to look for investment, which is the biggest ball ache. Tell us a little bit about what did you do? Just think, right, I'm just going to send out the script to various people and things like that, because obviously you sent it to me as well. Was it through social media, just to give people a bit of an idea of what they can do?
I went through and made a list of comparables. Pretty much every film I could think of which was around those three comparable films, which said anything which was sort of music based, 80s based. If it had a punk connection, there was like SLC Punk or movies like that. Anything that had a connection to what Punk's Not Dead was about, and looked up the producers of those on IMDb Pro.
Yeah.
Got the contact details. If those people were still working, then we worked out a query letter just saying, look, my name's Stuart, this is my latest film. It's in an area which you've worked before. Would you be interested in reading the script, or can I send you the script? You're risking the
a rejection. What's one of them?
Well, yeah, rejection also. Unsolicited material.
Never had one of them, Stuart.
Yes,
I've got bastard.
Anyway, I sent all those out, and had a reasonable reply. There was 20 or 30 people replied, said yes, we'd love to read the script. Out of that, 2 or 3 replied and wanted to take it slightly further. So we got the verbal option offer, and that's kind of as far as we got. There's a few other things going on now, which I'm not going to say too much, because obviously until it's actually happened, it's just pie in the sky. There's a few things going on which hopefully will develop or lead us into the next stage where we can find the right people to come on board and help us actually materialise that. But it was just finding the addresses, email addresses or contact addresses of the producers who have got something in common with your project, and reaching out and contacting them. Yeah, and some replied, some didn't.
Sometimes, I mean, people say about luck in this business, and yes, I believe that, but it's also you make your own luck. So it's the hard work, and it's the amount of rejections you get, it's the amount of people you send the project out to, and it's just waiting for that one to connect. And the key is just to keep at it. But a brilliant thing you said there, which I believe in, is IMDb Pro, which is fantastic for contact details. If you want to contact people in the film business to ask them questions or pitch, sometimes it's very difficult because they get a lot of pitches. But that is one way. And sometimes it's not just pitching them, it's just asking them a question and asking them for a bit of help. You do find if you ask the right way that people are pretty good. So yeah, that's a good point. Now, as far as your writing's concerned, so you've taught yourself, you've had some steering in the right direction. What do you think's the biggest thing that you've learned about your writing? Are you still fine tuning it? Are you happy with it, or is it just constant?
You can't please all the people all of the time, basically. You can get two people read the same thing and give you completely conflicting feedback. If you consistently get the same feedback, then I think you need to work on those areas. I personally am story driven. I like the story. To me, and then if everyone says so, I don't know. It's split whether character or story. I'm definitely story driven. It's so need to address the characterization issue, bring in more of that into it, so that you do give a shit about what's happening on their journey. But it's, to me, I need to see something that I can believe, and I need to believe in the characters as well. I need to find them at least believable. You don't have to like them.
Yeah. Sometimes one works out the other because everybody's different. Sometimes you'll write the story and the characters start to develop, and sometimes you'll develop the characters and then the story. So I don't think there's one right or wrong way. What I would say is now tell us a little bit about getting feedback, because a very valuable thing that I've used is readers, because they basically pull it apart, and it's finding the right reader as well. People have asked me this before, and I've found a reader that's right for me. Everybody wants, you might want it structured differently. I like it just being pulled apart, thrown at me, and picking out what I can. Tell us a little bit about that process. Has it been through any readers or anything like that, Stuart?
Well, several people I use. Some are more TV based, and I guess it's like pulling it apart, giving you back. You get completely different information, which sometimes people pick up on the same thing. Yeah, and then you've got an issue. Other times it might just be their preference. They might say, "Oh, I'm not sure I believe that part of it." And it's we all watch films and go, "Nah, that never happened." And also, I look for some of the cheaper competitions to enter to get the feedback. So you're not paying through the nose, but you're getting half decent as a one-off. Just throw the ball and see if that comes back to match what I'm getting from personal contacts as well. Scripts being out via the query letter, and also there's feedback from industry people there, which generally has matched.
That's good. That's good that you're getting that kind of feedback, because that's definitely what you need. I mean, some people will ask me to have a look at certain scripts, and the first thing I'll say is, have you had feedback? Not from your mum or your wife.
Yeah.
I do it to my wife on purpose sometimes. I'll say, read that. I know she don't want to. but no, that's really important what you said. So, in a nutshell, Punk's Not Dead, set in 1981. It's what this guy Murat went through, getting onto the scene. What years does it play out all the way through his life?
No, it's 2 weeks. 2
2
weeks in
weeks.
1981 over the royal wedding, over the royal, was it Prince Charles and Diana's wedding weekend?
Yeah.
And he left home going on a holiday stroke sabbatical, trying to escape what was going on indoors, found himself in the tribal madness that was the early 80s. It was, completely crazy time. And so he went from quite an innocent, not runaway, but a sort of innocent naiveness of, I want to go and be involved in that, to find himself in some pretty horrific situations of desperate people who are living on the streets, and there's the music surrounds that. I mean, it's not really a happy ending. It's not dire, but it's not a happy ending film as such.
Yeah.
And that leads on to sort of where we went after that.
And what do you think so have you looked, because you say on your pitching document, which I can put a link to in the podcast notes, it compares it to other things, sort of This Is England, things like that. Because This Is England is a good fit, but obviously it's a shame sort of maybe you've missed the boat with that a little bit by a few years. But have you contacted people to do with that or anything to do with that?
Yeah, we tried. I tried all the films that were the comparables were linked, but there was no. I mean, as I say, whether it's a not interested, bad timing, or no unsolicited.
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I was just thinking,
you don't know whether people have got anything or not. You don't know whether they've reached. How many times you get an email and you go, "Oh, look at that," and then it just goes down the list, and you end up deleting it because it's not because you're not interested, it's because you haven't got time.
Yeah. You need a Shane Meadows, don't you? That's what you need.
Ideally, yes. It's
what you need and what you get.
Yeah.
So, what's the future look like then, Stuart? What you're just going to keep plugging away at it, or are you thinking of doing a new feature, or is this you're going to focus on this now for a while?
Well, this is the main priority, but I've a list as long as my arms of other log lines and whatever, which I want to start developing and writing into, sort of finding the time. Not enough hours in a day, even with lockdown.
I know. Tell me about it. And have you thought about any projects that you are going to write to a budget? Because that's what I'm, especially since pandemic as well. What I write now is what I know I can almost try and film.
I think that's the next step for me, is to write something which I could possibly produce myself on a very low budget. Low amount of characters, low scenes, but high story content.
Yeah.
And that's these log lines that I'm looking at now. I'm kind of developing through taking the best parts of those and trying to.
That's good advice. Ultimately, when I'd been plugging away, I had a project that was very close to getting off the ground. It didn't. And then I just said, fuck it, I'm going to write something that I can make. And I don't need permission. And in a way, whether that turns it into getting funding for another feature, or whether it don't, I feel like I've got the monkey off my back. So you know what I mean? Because it is difficult when you're slugging away and you're getting rejections. You're just trying to get that thing funded. It's just, I will say, it's not soul destroying because you enjoy it, but you've got to have a certain resilience, haven't you?
Yeah, the constant rejections are a bit frustrating, but it's not personal in most cases. It's not because you don't know that person, they don't know you. And the dogs are off again.
Postman.
So also some of the contacts I've made through reaching out for Punk's Not Dead. Also, there's people with kit. They've got their own kit. They're looking to invest kit into situations which drastically cuts the what budget you need.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there's things opening up all over the place. So whatever happens with with one thing, you sort of can move into another.
Yeah.
So
I suppose the difficulty as well with it is because it's a period piece.
Yes.
It's just finding that investment to cover that. Because if you're going to do it, you want to make sure you get it right, I suppose, especially with a punk. Because with a punk era, if you didn't, you'd soon know about it. I wrote a feature, and I'd love to set it in 1975, but I just don't. But I just set it modern day because I think there's no point. But maybe one day. Well, look, I always ask my guests for a bit of advice, and if you were to give advice to someone just starting out about to get into writing, or maybe music, or maybe the best bit of advice you've been given, Stuart, what could you say?
Just do it for yourself. Do it for the right reasons. Why do you want to do it? Is it do you doing it because you want to make films, or you want to make music, or do you think it's going to make your life better? Because it's not. It's going to make it more frustrating. It's if you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll get satisfaction out of what you do, whether you release it to your family or whether you release it to a million people. It's regardless. It's if you're happy with your creative output, then just go for it. And if you're good at something, that normally shines through, and people become involved and want to work with you on stuff.
Yeah, true. And I think, like I say, you've got to do it. You've got to enjoy it, because if you don't, there's no way you'll stick at it. Because what other thing would you do for free so people can say no to? Say no, good.
And we get, when you get to the end of it, you're going to get a certain percentage of people who go, it's shit. It's you got to really, you have got to be quite resilient with things as well, and not be too precious or take
it personally. No, that's good advice, Stuart. And I always ask my guests for a favourite, so it can be music, film, TV, whatever you want. But have you got a favourite that you could recommend, or a book, whatever you think?
Punk's Not Dead's a great book. So I don't know. I'd struggle to fit a top 10 into anything more. Movies, I don't know. Deer Hunter's one.
Yeah,
I always go back to. I can never watch that too many times.
Yes.
Really, that never quite got over the trauma of the Russian roulette scene at the end.
God. I know, what a brilliant film. Oh, did you read any book? As you were picking up Screenwriter, did you read any books or anything like that, Stuart?
I've dipped in and out of stuff. I've dipped in and out of stuff. The one book which really did make sense, and I would recommend, Robert
McKee.
I can't remember his surname, but it doesn't work like that. It's called
Robert McKee, was it?
Might be. Robert
McKee.
It doesn't work like that, and it's really down to work. It doesn't go into how many acts or heroes' journeys or anything. It goes about, if you do this, it will go wrong. If you do that, it will go wrong. And it's it's just a common sense view of being a writer.
Yeah.
And it really hit home. That's kind of, wow, that's fantastic.
That's a good book. That is the what's happening now in screenwriting terms is, years ago you had to have a set way. So I remember when Robert McKee did a book called Story, and it's like the Bible, the screenplay story. But now you watch some films, you think, well, hold on, the character hasn't done this, and he hasn't. So it's all being moved around. So it's quite interesting but I think the main thing is you take what you need from these books, to use it for what you want. Because I think producers are looking for something that they know is going to work, but they like invention as well. So they like something with a bit different. So they want, the new, I don't know, Titanic, but they want a twist on it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It gives them
that old saying as well. Once you know the rules, you can break the rules. So it's kind of once you know that, okay, I know that I'm breaking that rule now, but I'm doing it because, and you can justify why you've done things rather than doing it for error, which sometimes works. But
yeah, and this is a question for you as well. Where do you see the state of cinema going, Stuart, after this year?
I think online releases have just proved so successful for a lot of people. I'm not sure. I think it'd be a tough ride getting cinematic releases back certainly for smaller films, which seems quite a shame, really. It's you can never tell. I don't know, until things start opening up again.
I think for myself as a filmmaker, I think it gives me a lot of options because there's a lot more platforms to release films on, which is great.
Yeah, certainly as a filmmaker,
you know, which is great because when you're making a micro budget film or something like that, to say you're going to have a run in the cinema is just not going to happen. But these online, you know, VOD, video on demand, give you a chance of a lot of people watching it. But then I think cinema maybe will turn into more of an event. So your big films, your Christopher Nolan films. So I think people, if they're going to go to the cinema and spend cash, they want to see more of an event film like your James Bond and things like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
I think there's also, you run the risk of, and it happened with music, where the ability to create your own records and release that without the need of a label is fantastic and it's brilliant. But you end up with such a mess of releases, sorting through that to find something that's actually great. Becomes an issue. You can't get that with music, like the 3-second rule. Play and you're only giving someone 3 seconds of your attention before you skip to the next song, which is a horrible thing to do, but you have to get through it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Well, look, it's been great having you on. What I'll do is I'll put links to the pitch document and everything. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you on social media, Stuart?
Via website, Stuart Newman. 101.com. There's links to most social media there and an email address. Feel free to drop us a line. I'm always up for collaboration on things, written or audio.
Cool. Well, look, I'll put all the links in. Make sure you stay in touch. Keep updating me as well, you know, because if you get a significant go through and then come back on and tell us, you know, because it's interesting, the journey that you're putting everything into it. And it's not easy. I totally feel your pain, mate. But enjoy the ride.
It is, yeah. It's been an enjoyable ride, and it's a good learning curve as well. So it's all, it's sort of one day excitement, the next day.
It's difficult. But you've got the passion, you've got the stories, you've been through a lot of it, and I think that's the key. If you've got that essence, you're halfway home. It's just everything's so difficult at the minute, you know. But just stick at it, and definitely Screenwriting Festival. Once that's back on, I'm hoping to go again. Because
September, hopefully that's on. So I've already got the ticket for that.
No, that would be brilliant. Yeah, and if I can make it, we'll meet up definitely.
Yeah.
Look, okay. Well, look after yourself, Stuart, and I will speak to you soon. Take care, mate.
Cheers. Thanks, Lee.
So that's it. Massive thanks again to Stuart for joining me today, and also to you for listening. Make sure you follow the podcast, because over the next coming months, there are going to be some even bigger and better interviews and more extraordinary interviews. So just keep listening in. Now, the podcast streaming all the usual platforms, iTunes, Spotify. Just put My Way Thinking Podcast and we come up everywhere. Remember, rate and subscribe. And every week, put the conversation up on all the usual platforms so you can listen to it. You can watch it. I'll try and put it as far and wide as possible. Remember, we're on Facebook, which is My Way Thinking Podcast, and Instagram is My What Podcast. If you want to get in touch, or you think you'll be a great guest, or you know someone would be a great guest, then email me. It's mywhatpodcast@aol.com. Okay, got a very special show coming up for you shortly, so make sure you keep listening in. Until next time, God bless. Take care.
Bye.